All right. Let's see here. Option. There we are. How's it going, everybody? Whoop. Let me make this thing again, right? Kind of mess up a little bit. Option. There. Slideshow for the images. How's it going, YouTube Live? What time is it right now? Right now is 11:37 p.m. Monday, February 24. So, earlier this evening, I covered the red carpet premiere of Superman Red Sun. And I also attended the screening right after the red carpet. So tomorrow you can watch my video interviews with the voice stars of this new DC animated movie, including Jason Isaacs, who voices Superman, Amy Acker, who voices Lois Lane, Roger Craig Smith, who voices Batman, Vanessa Marshall, who voices Wonder Woman, and of course, executive producer, the legendary Bruce Timm. You know, the guy who gave us Batman the Animated Series and Batman Beyond, and of course, the legendary director Sam Liu. It was a fantastic event. Um, and so, Superman Red Sun will be available on digital tomorrow or in a few hours from now. Yeah. So I guess by midnight will be tomorrow. Um, Tuesday exactly, February 25. And then it'll be available on Blu-ray in March. I'll give you the details of that after this review. So I watched the movie, and so I figured, you know what? Now that I'm home, I might as well, since it'll be available on digital for you to download at any digital retail by midnight. There's no need to tiptoe around stuff or walk on eggshells anymore. I'm just gonna give you my review, my spoiler-filled review. So this video review contains spoilers. All right, heads up, there are spoilers in this review. You've been warned. This is a spoiler-filled review of Superman Red Sun. Um, Now, as you know, those of you who know me well, know that you guys know that I am a huge Superman fan. Ever since I could remember when I was a kid, first time watching Christopher Reeve on the screen, I'm like, that's my hero, that's my Superman. So anytime that DC animated movie comes up with a Superman centric or Superman standalone film, that's not, because sometimes they would also have Batman films and they would have Justice League films, right? But then there's Superman films like this one or the previous ones, the Death of Superman and whatnot. Anytime that they come up with Superman centric or standalone film, I'm like, I'm in. Count me in. Whereas other characters or other films, I'll be like, yeah, I don't know. I'll see whether or not I'm busy that evening, But if it's Superman, I'm like, I am so there. I am totally there. Now this arc is based on the three comic book series by Mark Miller. Mark Miller, the same comic book writer behind such greats as Wanted, right? He created Wanted, and I forgot what's the other one. There had been many movies. I think Kick-Ass too, right? Kick-Ass was Mark Miller. There had been many movies based on Mark Miller's creation. So I believe it's in 2003 that he came up with this arc of Superman Red Sun, 3-book arc, and it's part of the Elseworlds, like stories of DC characters that are kind of set in an alternate universe, where the characters are not what you have come to know them. Kind of like that movie Batman Gotham by Gaslight a few years back. Where Batman was in Victorian era England and he was fighting off Jack the Ripper. So it's kind of like that. It's part of the Elseworlds. Um, Now I haven't read Superman Red Sun comic books. Not even prior to interviewing the talents this evening. So I came into this screening pretty fresh, right? I didn't know what to expect other than what I saw in the trailers. And so this arc was pretty new to me. And so yeah, let me just go with this. Let me look at my notes here. So basically, let's start with the synopsis. Basically, the plot is Superman. It kind of asks the question: what if baby Superman crash landed in Eastern Europe, specifically Ukraine, during the Soviet era, right? 40s, 50s, Cold War. What if he had crash landed there instead of Kansas? And the events that ensue pretty much kind of, it's a very socio-political driven type of story. And in this Elseworld, Lois Lane is married to Lex Luthor. I kid you not. What else? What else? Batman is a terrorist. Um, Wonder Woman, according to this movie, she kind of hates men. She has very skewed perception of, male or man in general. Um, and there's Brainiac. So the story goes that Superman becomes this, superpowered figure on behalf of the Soviet Union. That's why he has the emblem, the hammer and sickle emblem on his chest instead of the S or hope. And but Superman is not a bad guy. He's still, I guess you could say, sort of good, because he still fights to protect the weak and the defenseless. But at the same time, this Superman kills. This son of a gun kills. And Batman too, the terrorist. Um, and so he finds out that Stalin has gulags, where he imprisons peasants, and then Superman kills Stalin, and then Superman assumes power, and then Lex Luthor comes up with, using Superman's DNA, he creates a superior man, sort of like a Bizarro, like this. It's sort of like this versions of Bizarro. So Superior Man, there's a big fight between him and Soviet Superman, Superior Man versus Soviet Superman. It was pretty epic. And then the second arc, here's the thing: the story spans over a few decades. So it's from 1945 all the way till, I want to say, 1986 or so. So, um, so the second arc was about Superman versus Batman. So the first one was Superman versus Superior Man, and then it goes to Superman versus Batman, and then it goes to Superman versus Brainiac at the end. So yeah, that's the gist of it. Um, I had a chat with a few of my fellow press members after the screening, and they had read the comic books, and they told me, like, because I told them, like, yeah, I kind of like the film, and they told me, like, yeah, but they took a lot, they took a big chunk out of the, they erase a big plot from the comic books in the adaptation. And I don't. Here's the thing: we can go on and on and on about complaining about adaptations not being faithful to the original material, but I'm sorry, that's just how it works, man. Sometimes things get lost in the adaptation, like, for time purposes or whatever, because maybe the story, they want to make it concise instead of going on other detours. Sometimes comic books, especially like a 3 arc volume series, sometimes there will be like subplot and other subplots as well, where it takes you away from the overarching arc. So, like, I get it. I don't want to complain if the adaptation is not too faithful to the material, as long as the big gist or the big essence of Superman Red Sun is still in there. So that's not a big deal for me. But the one of the few things that I have in my note is that I noticed the female characters in this movie are freaking horny. There's only a few, right? We got Lois Lane and Diana, aka Wonder Woman. Lois Lane just like, I don't know. He complimented her husband once, Lex Luthor, because I think it's Jimmy Olsen that asked like her like, "What do you see in Lex?" And then she said like she gave three reasons, and the second reason was the sex is great. And then of course there's a scene where they're in bed and she's looking all sexy and seductive, and she says something like, "I don't want kids, to ruin my body," like um and then Diana, Wonder Woman, in this movie has a dancing scene with a Soviet Superman. And after the dance, it's a lovely dance. Like it's a ball thing. Um, After the dance, she kind of comes on to him, man. That was, I don't know. I just feel like the women here are, uh, uh, I don't know. They're like they're in heat or something. But at the same time, like I said earlier, um, Wonder Woman's particularly, she has, she thinks very little of men. So she's like total man eater, man. Or I should say man hater, not man eater. And it's like, oh, you man, you always just want war. And I think it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I get it, you hate men. is, is that all you've got? I mean, she keeps repeating it again. And again. See, this is the thing. I've never read the comic book, so I can't make any comparison in this review. But based on the film, based on the film alone, man, it gets pretty annoying. With Diana Wonder Woman's give like, oh, you men this, you men that, you men like, okay, all right, that's your only card. I get it. You gotta play that card all the time, but it's getting old. um, so that's what I have on my note. For the first one. Second one. Um, with regards to Jason Isaacs, voicing Soviet Superman. Jason Isaacs, of course, as you know, is British, right? Yeah. And of course, he plays that famous character in Harry Potter. Um, I'm a big fan of his turn as a villain in The Patriot, starring Mel Gibson. That was a fantastic movie. So he had played a Russian before in the movie Hotel Mumbai. Um, his accent as Soviet Superman is it comes on and off. All right, kind of like Andrew Lincoln as Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead. Andrew Lincoln is also British, and he does Georgia Southern accent, and just sometimes you could totally hear the British accent kicking in. Every other, I don't know, freaking vowels or syllables, whatnot. But that's how I feel with regards to Jason Isaacs. Like, yeah. So it's a watered down Russian accent. But putting that aside, I think he does a pretty decent job of um with regards to cadence and inflection that captures the emotion, and that ties into the moments at hand. You know what I'm saying? Like other sometimes here's the thing, when studios cast big names to voice their characters in an animated movie or animated series, usually it's because they want seats. They want asses in theater seats. That's what I was gonna say. Because they want people to like, oh my god, they want the big names to be on the poster. So then the audiences would come to watch the movie because they are fans of that person, or like they're like, oh my god, they see the name Brad Pitt as the voice of, or Jack Black. Let's see, Jack Black as the voice of Kung Fu Panda. It's like, oh my god, Jack Black, I love him. So it doesn't matter if the movie's good or bad. because they're fans of his. But I think Jason Isaacs does a pretty good job um, of capturing what this Soviet Superman is about, and I you got to give him a bit more credit as well, because he had done some voice work in the past. This is not his first voice role at all. He had voice Sinestro. I think he had voice Lex Luthor as well. So this is not his first go around with DC. So it seems that he, after a few previous gigs and now leading up to this, it seems that he's gotten, I guess what I'm trying to say is he's gotten in tune or in touch. He's become more comfortable now with voice work, especially trying to work his voice performance to fit the character, and that's how I feel about what he did here with Superman. Even though, as I said, his accent, Russian accent, does come on and off, and his British accent kicks in every now and then. Despite that, I think he does a pretty fairly good job. Um, Everybody else though plays it straight. One of my favorite voice actors, Roger Craig Smith, a man of 1,000 voices. He did a good job as the terrorist Batman. So performance wise, I don't have a lot to complain about. Um, I was I was kind of shocked at how violent this movie is. I don't object violent stuff on screen. Some of my favorite movies are Quentin Tarantino's. I can stomach violence, on screen violence. Um, but I was just surprised because I'm a big fan of Superman, as you know. So the idea of Superman killing Zod at the end of Man of Steel, that's still kind of, to this day, that still kind of rubs me the wrong way. Yeah, that's another topic for another video. We can go on about that. You might argue, like Rama, he can't get around that situation. He had to kill Zod. He had to do it. Like, okay, maybe so, and then maybe I've come to accept that too. But at the same time, I there's this part of me that always kind of bugs me, like, Superman won't kill. So Superman kills a lot of people in this in this movie, man. Woo! So if you had a problem with Superman killing Zod in Man of Steel, ooh, you might want to look away from Superman Red Sun, because this brother is murderous, and he's the hero of the story. So it's not like he's the villain, but his solution to some of um, the problem at hand would be to kill that problem, like the terrorist Batman. Well, the terrorist Batman committed suicide, but I think Superman kind of drove him to that, and he killed Stalin. He killed a bunch of other people. I was just like, wow, wow, in the name of peace and good and justice. Oh man, there are some heartfelt moments. I'm not gonna lie to you. There were some moments that are like, okay, they really make an effort to kind of show the humanity side of this Soviet Superman. So even though he occasionally feels that he has to kill, at the same time, he rationalizes it by, like, okay, I'm killing the bad guys, but I'm protecting the good guys. So that has got to count for something, right? So that's his rationalization. What else do I have on my notes? I gotta say, you know what? Let me wind down with this. The socio-political themes, I don't think they, as in like the writers and the filmmaker. I'm not dogging on them. I'm a big fan of Sam Liu and all, and Bruce Timm, everybody who worked on this adaptation. I'm a big fan of theirs. They've done good job so far with DC animated movies. Um, but in the case of this, I feel like even though they try, but the point that they want to get across with regards to the socio-political themes of Superman Red Son, it's like it never really landed. At least when I was watching it earlier this evening, they threw in some philosophical stuff about capitalism versus Marxism, capitalism versus socialism, but it's like one of those things where they would bring it up to the surface for a moment, and then it goes down again. It sinks down again. It never has a momentum as far as the socio-political theme. Now, my friends who read the book said the comic books, the socio-political theme stuff, is more prevalent in the comic books. Like it's frequent. Like it's really emphasized by Mark Miller. Um, this movie, however, I think the reason why also because I feel like um, there are parts about this movie that kind of drags, uh, uh, where it's kind of slow, and it's understandable in a way because the story is very expansive, not expensive, expansive. Okay, because you have what I want to say 4 decades, right? 4 decades storyline. Spans across 4 decades, from the 40s to the 80s, and so it feels more like a chapter or a series. There's chapter 1, 2, 3, 4. One, him versus the superior man, and then him versus the terrorist Batman. So it never feels like a long story form. I think because of that, there are parts where like, where I keep like looking at my wristwatch. Oh, this is still going. I thought he already killed Batman. Oh, there's another one. Oh, he has to kill Brainiac too. So it feels too episodic. You know what I'm saying? I think this would have worked better as a TV series or a mini series, because then they could, insert the socio-political stuff even more significantly, than how it is today, right now, and as a movie form. um yeah, that's how I feel. Like, it's like a missed opportunity. I think I want to assume, because I've never read the comic books, but I want to assume that the comic books probably do a better job of addressing that, you know of making probably do a better job of making you think about these ideologies, different ideologies, and how they clash and collide. I want to believe that Mark Miller really, spend time with it. But I don't sense that when I was watching this movie. They would bring, like, again, they would bring it up every now and then. It's like, oh, you capitalists, you just you profit off the backs of the immigrants and slaves. Oh yeah, you socialists, you have gulags and all the, you know so they would highlight those things that were like the duh moment, like duh. But they never really go to the battle of the ideologies to the point where it gets profound or deep. They never go there, unfortunately, this film. And like I said, it just feels too episodic. um it drags because it's like watching The Irishman, even though The Irishman is a fantastic film, but it spans across what, I want to say a few decades, right? Three decades as well, or 4 decades. But The Irishman, if you remember, it's kind of like a long story form about Robert De Niro and how he encounters Jimmy Hoffa and how he betrays Jimmy Hoffa. Whereas this one, like I said, it's like here's segment one, here's segment two, here's segment three, here's segment four. So it would have worked so much better, I think. Superman Red Sun would have worked so much better as a mini series. So I guess that's my biggest criticism about this movie. I didn't hate it. I still liked it, but I think there's a lot of missed opportunity with regards to the themes and how they would, present the story better. It would have worked better as a miniseries. So, yeah, that's it. Those are all the notes that I have. Let me read to you the press note about the details on how on and when you can enjoy this film as well. Let's see here. Let me go back to the tunnel. Where are you? Okay, here it is. Superman Red Sun coming February 25 to digital and March 17th to 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray combo pack and Blu-ray combo pack. Um, Superman Red Sun will be available on 4K Ultra HD combo pack in the US for $39.99, in Canada for $43.99, and Blu-ray combo pack in the US for $24.98, and in Canada for $34.97. I don't know if you can read that. Maybe I'll make it bigger. Let's see the digital information. So, by the way, the bonus features, it comes with an animated short called Phantom Stranger and a sneak peek at the next DC Universe movie, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War. Oh my God, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so awesome. Fans can also own Superman Red Sun via purchase from digital retailers beginning February 25. On February 25, here you go. Superman Red Sun will be available to own in high definition and standard definition from select digital retailers, including Amazon, the Apple TV app, Fandango Now, PlayStation, Vudu, Xbox, and others. And then on March 17th, Superman Red Sun will be made available digitally on video on demand services from cable and satellite providers and on select gaming consoles. So that's it. That's the information for the digital enjoyment for you guys. Hope you guys get to watch it as well. If you have seen it, let me know what you think of it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you agree or disagree with my assessment about Superman Red Sun? I want to hear your thoughts about this movie in the comment section down below. And as always, subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.